to my YouTube channel. My name is Deborah. If you are new here, I do various reviews on different shows. And today we're actually doing a little bit of a different review because I actually didn't do reviews on Martha's Vineyard Summer House. I didn't do the reviews on the episodes, but I was watching. But I didn't really want to do an interview episode by episode. But nonetheless, I actually found some of the cast interesting. I actually did have things to say, but I decided to do just this one video and talk about the characters on the show. You know me, if anybody watches my channel, I love a character breakdown. I love a good cast breakdown. I don't just like to go over what the show happened on the show. I really like to try and learn about the cast, the members, and just see things that are different in them and just how they interact with each other. So today I want to do the same thing with Martha's Vineyard breakdown. I'm not necessarily going to go over the show each episode, but I actually want to talk about the cast members. So first of all, I want to start with the host and the hostess. The host and the hostess was supposed to be Silas and his wife, Jasmine. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I'm afraid for these two. I'm thinking that these two are already having some serious marital disagreements. You're starting to see some really cracks in their marriage. They're young, they're new. So I'm not going to, get too alarmed, but they actually probably do need to go to some counseling to try to get some help. But I also see some fundamental differences between the two of them. And I'm actually kind of wondering, and that's what I want to talk about, is how do you think these two even ended up together in the first place? Do you even think that they're a good match? Now, first of all, I want to talk about Silas. I'm going to read Silas's bio real quick. Silas's bio says he's a first-generation Liberian American. Silas Cooper currently resides in New York with a hunger for success. He attended Ivy League schools and is a member of prestigious fraternities and organizations. Silas works in finance, and when he's not crunching numbers, he's an officer in the Army Reserve. Always down for a good time, he has been a regular on the Vineyard for the past 7 years. Silas is ready to thrive with his wife Jasmine as the new power couple while they go in on sharing a house with their successful friends. Now, I got on my Martha's Vineyard sweatshirt to honor this little review of Martha's Vineyard. I was also surprised to read how many people have never been to Martha's Vineyard, didn't know anything about it, didn't know the history of black people in Martha's Vineyard. People should definitely check it out. In fact, I think it's next week is a big black weekend in Martha's Vineyard, considered Black Greek week, with a lot of fraternities and sororities go to Martha's Vineyard. Maybe that's where Silas met his girlfriend Jasmine, because a lot of well-to-do, upper-middle-class blacks do vacation in Martha's Vineyard. Martha's Vineyard is not cheap. It's not going to be a Miami trip for you spring breakers where you can go to Martha's Vineyard and rent a room for $100 and split it 5 ways. Nope. Martha's Vineyard's home typically run anywhere from $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, $11,000 for a week. And you're not talking about no big house with 10, 15 bedrooms. You're talking about a house maybe 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms at the most. So poor people don't go to Martha's Vineyard. Maybe that's why a lot of people ain't heard of it. Because if you ain't got more money, or you don't know anyone with some money, then you probably not going there too often, too much. I'm lucky enough to have my best friend owns a home in Martha's Vineyard. So I guess I'm kind of like Gail with Oprah. So that's why I've gone before and stayed in a hotel, but for the most part, when I do go, I stay with my best friend because she has a home there. Now, when I read about Jasmine, and this is where I'm going to get to, are they a good fit? When I read about Jasmine was born in the Midwest and raised in Atlanta. Jasmine Ellis Cooper is a budding screenwriter. She has a polished and poised exterior, but is loved for her quirky humor. She met Jordan, Shanice, and Bria while they worked together as Playboy Club bunnies. Upon moving to New York, Jasmine lived out of her car with her best friend Mariah, and after 6 months moved into an apartment that she shared with Jason. She recently married the love of her life, Silas, whom she met on Hinge. Jasmine is excited to bring her friends to Martha's Vineyard, where Silas asked her to be his girlfriend for the first time, and now they're going to Martha's Vineyard together for the first time. First, I want to say this. I think that Jasmine and Silas come from two different worlds. The world that Silas comes from college educated, fraternity boy, Army reservist, first generation African, Liberian African coming to America. That screams to me completely different from Jasmine. It doesn't say if Jasmine went to college. It doesn't say if Jasmine is in a sorority. It doesn't say any of those things. So I don't know if she is, but it also says that Jasmine was a Playboy Club bunny. I'm telling you right there, those two things don't add up to me. One thing about Jasmine is she is very poised. She is very, very poised. But when you saw these two interacting on the screen, I was like, wow, they're trying to combine two completely different worlds. And I wonder, can their two worlds fit in the same world? You actually always, a lot of times, hear Jasmine girlfriends saying that she had changed since she got married, that she was way more reserved than she normally is. A part of me, when Jasmine first came on, Jasmine mentioned when they talked about her career, they said that she called herself a housewife. So I think what it is Jasmine, it was a budding screenwriter, but she wasn't making any money at it. She couldn't pay probably for her own cost of living, so she became a housewife to Silas. In exchange for that, that's what Silas wanted. He wanted a true and real housewife. I think that Jasmine hit it big with this Bravo series, Martha's Vineyard. I think it was Jasmine, and maybe it was her friend Mariah or someone else, and some of you can chime in. I think they might be the ones that somehow got this show that we watched on the screen, which means Jasmine started off as a woman, maybe not having good financial means. She started off kind of like a broke screenwriter, being homeless, trying to make it. Now she's turned into a screenwriter that's had her first big gig. It was successful, so I'm sure she's going to get other gigs in the future, which means how does that change that from the relationship with Silas? Because I'm going to tell you, all that stuff going on in the series with ironing my clothes, having my breakfast ready, the routines, I want Jasmine to be at my beck and call. Even on this trip, where it was supposedly vacation, Silas was working because we saw him often working on his computer. So therefore, he expected Jasmine to keep the same routine on vacation as she did when they were at home. Well, Jasmine's like, I'm on vacation. I might be doing that at home, ironing your clothes, cooking dinner, cleaning up the house, and at your beck and call because you were the breadwinner, you're earning all the money, and I'm a housewife. But right now, we living it up in Martha's Vineyard. It was me who got you here because it was my connection. It was my know-how. It was my get up and go. It was my initiative that even got us this gig. So you expect me now to be in Martha's Vineyard, cooking you dinner and ironing your clothes and tending to you? Woo! I'm telling you, it was off the rails. And let me tell you, all this, the sex they was having, I can tell you right now, Jasmine was not having no real orgasms. She was not. And that fake screaming she was doing, she was not having orgasms. She was not at all. Silas is very regimented. Very regimented. And I'm not going to say he doesn't have a right to be regimented. What I'm saying is, I'm not sure his regimentedness is good for Jasmine. And I'm not sure if Jasmine's going to be able to live in his world long enough. She's a creative. She's free-flowing. I think she got married to Silas for security because I think she started getting scared that she couldn't make it out there in the world on her own. And she took the best offer that came her way. And Silas's offer probably was a good offer. He promised to love for her, care for her, and take care of her. But this girl was a Playboy bunny. She likes the nightlife. She likes the fun. She likes the crowd. She likes the spotlight. She was a Playboy bunny. And you can see all her friends, Shanice, Jordan, all of them, they all like the spotlight. They like the camera. I don't know how he's going to take her from that woman to be the woman he wants, which is at home, barefoot, pregnant, cooking and cleaning. That's what I think. I think they're going to have problems. And what's going to happen later on when he wants kids, and she may not want to have kids right away because she still wants to have her career as well. I think her career might take off from this series because I think it was a good series. I think the show was good. I think it warrants enough that they will give them a season 2. I do. Or if Bravo doesn't give them a season 2, I could see them going on and getting the show somewhere else. Who knows? Maybe she'll be doing it with Jordan or Shanice or one of the other young ladies. But there were a lot of budding screenwriters on this show. A lot of them came from the creative world. And I think that they took good advantage of this opportunity, showed their skills, and showed that they could put together something entertaining. And I wouldn't be surprised if they get another shot. And I think that's not going to fit well with Silas. This is starting to remind me, I don't know if ever you guys watch Real Housewives series when they first start. When all the women in the Real Housewives series, typically they're women who are housewives, which means it doesn't mean they're not talented. It doesn't mean that they're not smart. But what it does mean is they were still more reliant upon their husband's income. The husband was the breadwinner. He was the one at the forefront because he made the most money. The wives had personality. They had style. Then you come along and Bravo gives all these women a spotlight. They give them a platform. They're able to now start making their own money. What you often see in these housewives show is when that wife finally starts getting her shine, she finally starts making her own money, oftentimes the marriages fall apart. You see it in a lot of these reality shows when these women were perfectly comfortable being housewives, perfectly comfortable having their men be the breadwinners. But then once they get on the reality shows and they start getting a taste of fame and freedom and stardom and they get their own money, oftentimes what ends up happening is they no longer need that safety net that those husbands provided. They're no willing to accept some of the treatment maybe they got from those husbands when they were just a housewife, and you see the marriages fall apart. I'm starting to believe that might be the role that happens to Jasmine and Silas. Because I don't believe that their worlds are the same world. I don't think that Jasmine and Silas come from the same world. And I think that if Jasmine finds a career in screenwriting and she's able to do better, I think she's going to feel that the world of Silas is too restrictive. And I don't think that Silas really wants to live in her world. I don't. He may like parts of this, but I don't know if he's going to really like this creative television world in the end. I'm not for sure, because I think he's going to get a lot of flack. I think people are going to really give him a lot of flack about some of the things he was saying and doing on the show. He seemed regimented. He seemed controlling. He seemed domineering. He didn't seem to actually have any empathy and sympathy for Jasmine's feelings. I'm telling you, that sex was horrible. That sex told me everything. That sex told me that a man was willing to get his own pleasure without having any consideration for the woman's pleasure. That's what I viewed that sex as. He just wanted to get his rocks off. He really wasn't caring whether or not she was happy or pleased. I don't know if you guys remember, there was one scene when he said he can't even have sex unless she was screaming and hollering. Fake screaming and hollering, which means he doesn't care if you're actually not enjoying it, but he still wants you to pretend like you are. I don't know. A lot of selfishness is going on with Silas. And I think right now Jasmine maybe puts up with it because she couldn't basically probably afford her own lifestyle. But if she gets a little money in her pocket, I can imagine she start talking back to Silas, and Silas isn't going to like that, and that might be the demise of their relationship. Do I want that to happen to men? No, I don't. I don't want any marriage to fall apart. I love, and I want them to work. But they better maybe go get some help. Real soon to iron out some of these differences, because if they don't, I believe they're going to be explosive in their marriage. I'm even surprised that Silas's parents maybe even approved of Jasmine for the wife, unless they didn't know about the Playboy Bunny deal. Unless they didn't know she was a Playboy Bunny back in the day. Unless Silas and Jasmine kept that from Silas's parents. Because I do think Jasmine is polished. I do think she's probably been around wealthy people. So she knows how to move and shake when she's around them. But I don't think she actually comes from that money herself. I don't. Because she even mentioned that she had never really gone to Martha's Vineyard. That she was new to Martha's Vineyard. I don't think she grew up around money. I think she learned that part. And I think that she learned how to hide the parts of her that maybe weren't so, where, let's say, in-laws would maybe frown upon it, because I'm thinking that a lot of in-laws maybe, especially Liberian parents, might not look too proudly upon their son who's gone to Ivy League schools, reservist, a finance, highly educated, would be with a woman like Jasmine, even though she's pretty, even though she's creative. But she was a Playboy Bunny, and I'm not sure she's college educated. I think that's two different worlds. I do. So I suspect maybe some of Jasmine's past was hid from maybe Silas's parents, because he wanted the parents to accept her. And he liked her because he probably does like her fun side, and that brings out the fun in him, because he don't have that much fun to him. He don't have that much fun to him at all. And as they say, you can tell a lot about people by who they hang around. You can tell a lot about people who they hang around. And I'm not saying Jasmine might not have some other friends, but when you add in her friends of Shanice, who, a good Lord, Shanice, they say Shanice is the quintessential party girl, absolutely, because all that stuff she was doing with exposing her boobs and to everybody. Something wrong with Shanice. Something is wrong with Shanice. The level of attention that Sharice needs is disturbing. The level of attention that Shanice needs is disturbing. And her acting out to get attention is also disturbing. Shanice is a bit unstable to me. She definitely is a bit unstable. Even when they read the whole thing about how she was stalking an ex-boyfriend, I think they said she has attachment issues and other things she was going through with her ex-boyfriend. But Shanice is, she needs some help too. I've been telling everybody need therapy. We all need therapy. But Shanice, I'm telling you, the way that she interacts with men, this excessive need for attention, this excessive need to act out, even if the attention is negative attention, what she needs. I'm not for sure what happened to Shanice in her childhood. I don't know if she was abandoned. I don't know what went on. But this adult Shanice, man, she is acting out a lot of bad childhood behavior. A lot of it. She says she's ready to meet her future husband and her future boyfriend. Shanice is a child. She may be 20-something years old, however old they are, but she is a child. A lot of her behavior, a lot of her acting out, a lot of her temper tantrums, a lot of the negative tension she looks to get, to me really does remind me of teenage behavior. It doesn't remind me of a woman, I don't know how old she is, of her 20s or 30s. It absolutely does not. There's a self-destructiveness to Shanice where I feel like if the good things, she probably has a lot of good things happening in her life, but I bet a lot of the things that may not be going right in her life are things from self-sabotage, self-destruction, because I think she takes things way too far. And I think she acts out different emotions, whether it's fear, whether it's insecurity, whether it's anger, whatever it is. I think she physically acts out all her emotions. She doesn't know how to emotionally and intellectually, having any emotional intelligence to deal with her feelings in a different kind of way. It's a thing called emotional intelligence. It's being able to have feelings. And we all have feelings. We have anger, we have sadness, we have depression, we have excitement, we have all these different things. But the intelligent part comes when how you're able to express those emotions. I think with Shanice, she doesn't quite have a handle on her emotions. So when she feels emotions, she kind of acts them out in a way that really is, she acts out her emotions really in a way that's sort of adolescent-like. She acts them out, whether it's anger, whether it's, like I said, acting out to get attention. It just reminds me of a high schooler who doesn't know how to express themselves correctly with grown-up words, but instead they act out in these physical ways. That's Shanice. And the more you tell her about herself, or the more you maybe constructively criticize her or give her advice, the more she goes in the opposite direction and does exactly what you said you didn't like. That's also childhood, babe. That's what teenagers do. You tell them to do one thing and they don't want to listen to you, and instead they give you more of what you just told them not to do. You know, that reminds me of Shanice. Shanice needs some therapy as well. She has some work to do. And talk about work to do, my girl Bria, she really ain't my girl because she needs some help too. She's a gold digger. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, Bria's a gold digger. The only reason she's with this man from Germany, I already forgot his name, is because of the money he spends on her. She's a mess. She gaslights people. She's shows lots of narcissistic ways. She takes zero accountability. She's unstable. She throws temper tantrums. She feels entitled. She got a lot of problems. You know what? They always say there's somebody for everybody, but her boyfriend that came from Germany, I'm still wondering how the heck is he with her? Because she is using him. Then the way that she talked to that man, the way she talked down to him and treated him like he was the scum on the bottom of her shoe, and he took it, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. But you know, things like that don't last forever. People don't let you treat them like that for a long period of time. There's going to come a point in time when that man's going to duck Bria, or that man's going to get another woman, and Bria's going to find out, and then she's going to be mad, and she's going to do something like pour some hot grease on him. Because I'm telling you, when Bria gets mad, she's going to exact violence on that man. She can I could see, even though there are a lot of situations where people were putting their hands on Bria, because Bria provokes people sometimes to those levels. Is it right? It is not right. It is not right. But Bria is one of those type of people where she pops off at the mouth, does whatever the hell she wants to do, and then she screams victim after someone retaliates against her. Is retaliation right? No. But Bria pokes and pokes and pokes and pokes. And let me tell you, the way she was treating that boyfriend of hers, the way she was talking down to him, telling him what to do, and he was sucking up to her and getting over it, that ain't gonna last long. That's not gonna last long at all. She's a gold digger. Maybe she was an ex-Playboy bunny too, and maybe she got used to seeing men with money, and she decided the minute she was gonna snag her one for herself, and maybe that's what she did. She snagged her one and she moved her butt from New York on over to Germany because she said, I'm going where the money is. I'm going where the money is. But let that man lose his money. She'll be out of there. Let that man start standing up to her. She gonna be out of there. Bria's a mess. She's a spoiled brat. She's a narcissist. She takes no accountability for what she does. She's mean. She's a whole lot of things. She's disrespectful. A lot of things. I don't know what was going on in that Playboy house. Them Playboy bunnies, I don't know what was going on, because a lot of the girls who were in that Playboy bunch, I could see a lot of characteristics on them. And I guess maybe that's how you get to that part. Even Jordan, I would say that she sent a lot of mixed messages to me as well. I don't really have anything really big against Jordan, but I didn't like the way that she seemed to one way play her femininity, but then also use that against men when men responded to what she was doing. I don't like that. I don't like when people try to use it in one way for their benefit, but then when people respond to it, they put them down. I get this new generation. Hey, it doesn't matter what I wear. You still can't treat me any kind of way. I get it. I get it a lot. And let me tell you, Jordan is the queen of that. Jordan is the queen of it. I think she wanted favors. Right? She wants favors, the favor of her good looks, the favor of her nice body. I think she wants the favor that comes along with it, but yet she doesn't also want men to act, almost value it. I mean, I don't know. The reason they're giving you favor, Jordan, is because they value it. So in one way, you can't fault the man for valuing it. I don't think any man ever really said anything really to me that was really offensive to Jordan. I thought she was overly sensitive to it. In a lot of ways, I thought she blew up and popped off a lot more than she needed to. Here and there, yeah. I mean, I understand how she may be sensitive to it, because I bet you a lot of men did sort of sexualize her. But I didn't see a lot of that going on in the house, because a man called her thick one time, or because men thought that she was pretty and she was attractive, because men were deciding in the beginning that they were going to compete for the attention of Bria. I mean, a good Lord. This woman was in magazines, men was probably jacking off to her, and now she says she's upset because a man came into the house and said, hey, we're attracted to Jordan and we want to compete for her attention. I don't know. It seemed a little bit of a double standard, and so I really didn't feel Jordan the whole season, to be honest. I really did. I think they were hoping, I think even the producers were hoping there would be some type of love connection between the characters on the show, because a lot of these shows end up being that, right, where they're all having sex with each other. But I actually like the fact that didn't end up being what happened in this show, that it wasn't just a bunch of random sex going on, and that people really did say, I'm not just going to be doing that just to have it. So that part, I respect the women in that regards, that they just didn't go along with maybe what the producers wanted them to do, and that they just didn't fall at the feet of these men. I do like that. I thought Amir's character was interesting. I actually loved his journey of being in a house with all black people. You could tell that he hasn't experienced that. You could tell that more than likely the world that he comes from, although he is a half black, half Lebanese, but when you look at him, he clearly looks like a black man, all black. You wouldn't even know he was mixed with Lebanese. So I'm sure that's the way the world treats him, as a black man. I would imagine that he's a black man living in a world that's a little bit more mixed, and maybe, like he said, pretty much raised by his Lebanese side. So to have him experience being around a lot of black people, his culture, people who looked like him, people who might have even felt some of the feelings he felt, I think that was a good experience for him. I liked him a lot on this show. I think he showed up very, very well. I think he was trying to do right and treat some of the women nicely. And I think when he got shut down by Jordan, and when he realized that she was not interested in him, I think he handled it respectably. I think he was naive in a lot of areas. I think he was naive. I think he didn't quite know what he was dealing with, but I think he's that way because I don't think he's ever been here before. I don't think he's ever been in any situation nearly close to this before. We take for granted, people like me, I'm always around black people, but for someone like him who's never been around this many black people, I thought it was interesting. I think he was even surprised to see this many well-to-do blacks in one room. It's sad if that's the case, but I think he was even shocked by that. Now, Jason, we didn't get to, for me, I felt like I didn't get to know enough about Jason. We heard the backstory that he has I don't know, was he the ex-wife or ex-girlfriend? I know he has a child. I know he's a flight attendant. What else did he say? He's a flight attendant. He used to be the ex-roommate of Jasmine. So the story goes that Jasmine used to live in her car with Mariah. Mariah went home. I actually liked Mariah. So Mariah was friends with Jasmine, but she got booted off really, really soon because she got into that altercation with Bria. And I guess after Jasmine was living in her car on the street in New York, she moved in with Jason and they shared an apartment, which kind of makes sense because if Jason's a flight attendant, more than likely he's probably never home. And so it might have been a good way to share expenses in New York because New York is expensive. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jason and Jasmine lived together and maybe somebody else in that house lived together. Because that's what they do in New York. It'd be 3 or 4 people living in a place in New York, especially if you're a flight attendant and you're only home overnight a couple of nights a week because the most other times you're on flights. First, I was wondering, like, Silas, did Jasmine and Jason ever have any hookups? Did they ever have anything? I don't know. I didn't really see anything that made me think that they did. If they did, they really kept it really under wraps. And Jason knew how to keep it quiet. But I don't know. I'm tending to think that they didn't. I'm tending to think that they were just friends. But I didn't feel like I got to know Jason a whole lot. I felt like a lot of his inner workings, a lot of his personality, maybe some of the things deep down wasn't really revealed in the show. I think that I would have wanted to know a whole lot more about Jason, but I just didn't get that from him. So as a result, I really don't have much to talk about. It's not like I didn't like him or that I could say I really liked him. I felt like I just didn't get to know enough about him. And maybe it was because he came so much later in the show or a couple of episodes back that it almost was like he was an afterthought as opposed to he was, written into the storyline from the very beginning. Now, Preston was one of my favorites. I really, really, really liked Preston. I thought he was so level-headed. I thought he was the adult in the house. He almost seemed like he was the father of all these people. He was Silas's fraternity brother, line brother, but it almost seemed like he was everybody's daddy because he was the voice of reason for everybody in the show. And he was another one working the whole time. I think he worked the whole episodes. This definitely seems like something they just put together at the last minute. And everybody was like, I ain't got no vacation time, but I'll come down. They didn't even take no vacation time for this. They didn't do nothing. These people worked through this whole episode. And a couple of times I could hear Silas on a Zoom call or a Teams meeting talking about, I can't turn on my camera because my camera ain't working. He was lying. He just didn't want people to know he was down in Martha's Vineyard. Preston, you could tell he is sharp. He's educated. He's a sharp dresser. He's an attorney. He's an advocate. He's an activist. They said he's an adjunct professor. He's in fraternity brothers. He's fraternity brothers with Silas. I think Preston is used to this world. I think this is the world maybe he's comfortable in. And so I think he fit in really well down in Martha's Vineyard. I really do. It's interesting because he has a partner too. He has a partner, but his partner wasn't able to come. I guess they really didn't want people's partners to come on this show because now you find that Preston has a partner. He wasn't able to come. And then we had Nick. Nick also had a partner and they didn't want him to come. And then when Bria asked her partner to come, I think that's why everyone got upset. Because I think what people were saying was, hey, we all have boyfriends and girlfriends or partners or lovers, but we were asked to all come here as individuals. But yet Bria said, no, I'm bringing my man and my dog. So I think from the very beginning, what they were really hoping for was they would get all these single people and there would be some shenanigans happening and they didn't want it to be necessarily with couples. But who knows, maybe it would have been even better had they allowed the couples to actually come. Maybe it would have been good for Bria to let her boyfriend come from the very beginning. Because let me tell you, when he finally did show up, I think it added to the story. I think the dynamics between Bria and her man added to the storyline. I'm thinking they should have let Preston's man come. And I'm also thinking they should have let Nick's girlfriend come. I think the only person on there else that didn't have a boyfriend back home was Summer. And I liked Summer. She was one of the ladies that I actually liked. They said that she's Jamaican. She comes from a Jamaican family, but was raised in Pasadena, California. She loves writing as well. And that's how she met Jasmine at the Sundance Film Festival in France, I guess, in 2019. So once again, you have a lot of these people on this show that have a creative background, interest in television, and I'm thinking that's how they got this show off the ground. And that's why once they started saying they got the green light for this show, they started calling some of their other creative friends to come in and just join the house and put it together. Imagine what this show could be if they curated the house a little bit more. I think it's going to come back next season. I think it's going to be even better, hopefully. I know Summer and Alex kind of had a little bit of a budding maybe romance, towards the end, but I don't see it going anywhere. I don't see it going anywhere too much at all, because actually I'm not for sure that the level-headedness of Summer goes well with Alex. I know Alex says he's zen, he doesn't like drama, he doesn't like this, he doesn't like all of that. But I'm not for sure it's the truth. Alex reminds me of one of those people who says he wants a deep relationship with someone and he acts deep, but then when you peel back the layers, he's kind of shallow. That's how I feel about Alex. I feel that Alex tries to pretend like he's real deep and he wants to have these deep conversations, but then there's a part of him that's really shallow. Like, I would imagine the women he chooses to be his partner, to be his girlfriend, are completely different from the things that he says. Because he talks, he writes these songs like he's deep. He likes to have these deep conversations. He meditates and he's spiritual. But a part of me feels like Alex is superficial. It's really, really weird. What he says and what he does, I think, are not the exact same thing, to be honest. I think the grown-upness of Summer and her conversation, I think he really enjoyed it. I think they had some good conversations. But is that what excites him sexually? I don't think it is. I think on paper, or not even on paper, I think in theory, he likes a person like Summer. He likes her level-headedness. He likes her personality. He likes that she's not a lot of drama, but I think in reality, I think he likes a woman not as turned up as Shanice was, but I do think he likes a woman a little bit more fire. I do. And I think he's a bit superficial. I think he tries to pretend like he's more than about looks of a woman, but I think he really is a lot about looks of a woman. And I mean, nothing's wrong with it, but I just think what he says and what he presents are two different things, which is different from Nick, because I think Nick, even though they were calling him a liar and saying he was trying to hide the girlfriend, he kind of did reveal her within the first week. I think he lives more of his truth. I think Nick lets everybody know, yeah, I'm bougie. I am bougie and I don't care. I like certain things. I like to dress. And I don't think he tries to be a different type of person, because he really is who he is. I think that's the difference between Nick and, Tyree. I think that Nick knows exactly who he is. He's bougie. He has high standards and he doesn't mind saying it. And he doesn't try to pretend to be someone else. Because even with the girlfriend, I think when she got on the show, she said, he told me that he was going on the show and he said he wanted to do it. And probably what he knew was, in order to get on the show, he couldn't bring his girlfriend. And he didn't want them to know he had a girlfriend, because I think he wanted to be on the show. He did what he needed to do to get on the show. He said what he needed to say to get on the show. Was he down in the DMs saying something sweet to Jordan and maybe Bria or Summer? Yep, I believe he did it. I think he did all that because I'm thinking he was doing what he needed to do to get on the show, because I think he wanted to be on the show. But I think I also saw some genuine care, concern, and I don't know, love for his girlfriend. I really do. I think he was ecstatic about her coming. I don't think that he had any problem with her coming with those women, because I think even when he did what he needed to do to get on the show, I don't think he had any intentions on trying to hook up with any of those women. Even if Jordan was interested in him, I'm not for sure he would have gone for it. I think he really likes that woman that came. I forget her name. I really think he likes the girlfriend that he talked about, because when he spoke about her, you can see his eyes light up. I think he's smitten by her. I really do. In his bio, it says that he's a self-proclaimed romantic. He loves hard and has high standard when it comes to dating. And I believe all that. I believe all of that. I think he is I think he is romantic. I think he loves hard and he has high standards. But I feel that's why I think he's different than Tyree, because he admits it. I think Tyree tries to pretend like he's down to earth, but his standards are just as high as Nick's. And I keep calling him Tyree, but his last name is Tyree. His name is actually Alex. I think it should get another season. Doesn't mean that these exact people need to come back. No, they could switch out some people. They could keep some of the same. Who would I want to come back? I do want to see Silas and Jasmine back because I want to see how their relationship is going. I think that's going to be explosive. I do want to see them back. To me, I don't need Jordan back. I don't think that Jordan, to me, particularly add anything to the show, except telling people I don't want you to judge me by who I am. But other than that, I don't think that she added too much a flavor. I want to see Nick come back, but I want to see Nick come back with his girlfriend. As toxic as Bria is, I want to see her come back because I want to see if she has any growth. Shanice, probably, a lot of people may want to see Shanice come back because I think she is quite quirky, kind of weird. I wouldn't mind her coming back. Jason, unless he brings me something else, I don't need Jason back. I don't think he added anything. I do want to see Preston come back, but I want Preston to come back with his partner. Amir, I don't know. I liked him on the show, but I'm not for sure I would need him to come back. What more would I want to see from Amir? Even though I liked Amir, I wasn't left with what do I want to know more about Amir? Summer, I liked her. Like I said, I did like her. So maybe I would say come back because I like her. And then Alex, not really, because I think Alex is fake. I think Alex plays to be one person. He's really another person. And so I really just don't want to see a fake person on the screen. If this is going to be reality TV, I want to see the real you. And I don't think Alex showed us the real him. I think what he showed us was a facade. But that's it, y'all. Those are my thoughts on Summer House of Bravo. What you guys think? Did you like it? Do you think it should get a second season? I do.